So we're live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Own Your Dreams podcast. Today's episode is extra special. I know I said that the last time, but I truly mean that just because, honestly, everybody I've had on here, I genuinely think are very special people. At the end of the day, we're all one of one. And today we're going to get some unique insight from the man himself, Chava Marquez.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited. I haven't done podcast for a while, but dude, when you hit me up, I was like, dude, I was excited.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, Chava, when did we connect? When did we even meet?
Oh, I remember. I know exactly.
Okay.
I know exactly when we met. I think it was 2019.
Exactly. Remember the day at all, the time? Maybe?
I remember it was cold. I remember that. But that was back when I was starting to network a little more with other people. And I don't know why, but your profile on Instagram came up on my Instagram. So I was like, I checked out your Instagram. I was like, oh, this guy's doing like cool shit, you know, because you were doing Fit Nation, and I saw your gym post and everything. I was like, so I followed you, and then back then I was still like, you know, kind of starting photography and everything. So I saw it as like a good opportunity. I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to this guy, you know, let's see if we can work together. And ever since then, we just kept working together until now, huh?
Yeah, basically hit it off. I remember. I really liked your work, and I think you did a photo shoot for some clothing that was dropping. And I'm like, after seeing your photos, I'm like, going back to my personal photos. I'm not a photographer. I just did my best. I just went out on a whim. I'm like, there's no way I can go back from the quality of these photos to my quality of photos. I'm like, I gotta continue hitting this guy up. Hey, like, can we work something out? But I remember exactly, man, and that's awesome. But as far as about you, Chava, let's start off with a little bit about you. Where do you come from? What are you about? I'm sure a lot of people that may be watching, they kind of already have an idea, but say to somebody who may not know, where do you come from? What are you about? I guess what I can say is I listened to this from I forgot what speaker it was, but I think this question is I think a very personal question. So I think maybe we can tie that into this. Is 3 big highlights in your life that maybe have shaped who you are today, or maybe what your life is today?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Well, I come from Mexico. I grew up in Mexico my entire life. I moved here when I was 18, and at the time, it was I moved here because I wanted to just learn the language and learn English, and most likely go back to Mexico, you know. But I started working, and I, I'm like, well, I have more opportunities here, so I just stayed here. I worked for a long time, and then ended up picking up photography, mainly because I was a little bit introverted at the time, and it was just a way of like, something to do after work, and just a way to kill time,
And this is still 18 years old here?
Yeah, I was about 20, 21 when I started doing photography.
So you already had probably picked up a little English by then, would you say?
Yeah. So I guess that was the challenge back then for me,
Yeah. So you came here knowing no English at
No,
all?
I didn't know any English back then, and pairing that with being a little bit introverted and stuff, it was tough,
Yeah.
So photography was just like my one outlet where I could do it alone. I could just go outside, take pictures, and but yeah, that's mainly it. My whole life, Mexico was everything I knew, and moving here was like a little bit of a culture shock, and having to adapt to new things, working, things like that. But wait, what was the question again? What was the
3
3 things.
3 things that you would say that have completely shaped who you are today? Because I heard from this guy, like, there's usually about only a handful of things that have really impacted us through our lives that have ultimately shaped us for who we are today, or kind of what our life is like today.
Yeah.
Maybe they kind of just come to mind really quick, and then a whole bunch of other stuff starts coming up. But what are 3 things that immediately come to mind that you would say, like, obviously I'm assuming Mexico's transition, from the transition from Mexico to here is probably a huge one. But what would you say?
No, that's the main one, I would say. I didn't want to move here. That's the thing. My mother kind of just sent me here, like, kind of figure it out,
Yeah.
And so that, when you get thrown into, the fire like that, you kind of have to figure it out,
Right.
So that was one thing. Another thing I think would be, starting my business and kind of taking that leap of faith of like, I'm going to do this. Because it's not just like, oh, like, how am I gonna make money, right? But it's about like, what are the steps that I need to take to be able to make money, to be able to make connections and things like that. So that was the second, and then the third one I think was honestly started when I started working out. That
Damn.
changes like your whole mindset, your confidence, and those three things I think have been the biggest thing for me, especially because when you work out, you kind of just do things different, right? Like you get more confident, and then it's just the way of like it translates into other areas of your life, and I think I would put it in there for sure.
That's awesome, man. And that's pretty cool how you said like your mom just threw you in the fire with throwing you out here to the United States.
Yeah.
Sounds like when you took that leap of faith into your business, in a way, it's almost like you're throwing yourself in the fire. It's a leap of faith. You don't know exactly what's on the other side, but you still decide to go for it. As far as fitness, I mean, I guess in a way, you're kind of just throwing yourself in there as well.
Yeah.
You don't really know maybe what you're doing. Is with anything, every time we do something new, we don't know exactly what we may be doing or if this is for us, but we give it a shot and slowly we start figuring it out. But that's awesome. But as far as kind of taking, honestly, these are all leaps of faith. How would you say that has shaped your mindset? Because overall, I mean, it's got to be a huge struggle for you to kind of come from a whole different country, not knowing the language, into this culture shock. Same thing with the business, especially because how much years was that after you got here that you started off that business?
I started as a hobby like 3-4 years in.
So that's pretty fast, man. Just considering you probably were just maybe fully getting fluent on that language, and you still decided to fully jump into your business. I mean, how would you say those moments of struggle may have been beneficial to you? Because a lot of people hear struggle and they kind of get scared, and for that reason they never take action. But from your opinion, kind of already have gone through these fires, would you say it's more beneficial for you, or would you maybe regret it and not have done it in the past?
Oh, no, I don't regret it at all. Everything that happened in my life, there's nothing that I would change. And there's things that till this day I'm like, why didn't I just go for it, right? Like, even though I did throw myself in the fire, at times, I'll tell you this, when I started, I would get so anxious because not only did I have to go meet some random people that I had to take pictures for, but I would have to talk to them, and what am I going to say, right? I don't know English. Like, I kind of had to rehearse the things that I was going to say during the shoot.
Dang.
And I don't regret it because every time I pulled up to a shoot for a long, long time in the car, my body would shake. Literally shake. I'm like, you gotta do this. Let's go. Yeah. And then you do that enough times to the point that it just becomes normal, right? Like, you don't get the shakes anymore because you know that you're fine. Yeah. So that was just like, it made I guess you can call that anxiety, or I don't know what the term would be, but I would get so anxious, nervous, and it made that go away completely. So that changed my entire persona and like the way I do things. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. I mean, I can definitely relate with a lot of my things in my life. Same thing, things that maybe are out of my comfort zone, and the same thing. I get anxious. I'm human. I experience all these emotions as well, and I guess the biggest thing is to try to take action and move in the direction that we want to go, in spite of whatever emotions may come up. But why do you think you would get kind of just maybe fearful or anxious, whatever you want to call it, or the shakes at moments like that?
I don't know. I was just like scared.
Scared of of what exactly?
Like I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to, because at the time someone would tell me something and I sometimes didn't understand what they said, and I'd just be looking stupid, and that was just embarrassing,
like a little giggle.
Yeah, dude. Like sometimes it's funny because a lot of times I built up this response of like, whenever someone tells you something, just to like give yourself time to say yes or say no. And then a lot of times something will happen, like at work. Oh, hey, can you help us do this? But they would say it in the way that I didn't understand. And my first response was saying, oh, no. And then it's just because I didn't get it right. And then 5 seconds later, they told me that if I wanted to help them move a car or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, it was just embarrassing,
Yeah.
And I just felt hella bad and just go help them, because even they would look at me like, what? Like, yeah, like rude, bro.
Good job, bro.
And so things like that would just make me feel self-conscious, and like I wanted to be proper and speak good English and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess that was the main thing, man. I didn't want to get embarrassed.
Okay, so a good example of somebody at work asking you something. Let's say you're about to clock in at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Your boss comes up to you and says, "Hey, Chava, it's 3:10. Do you mind clocking in?" You're like, "No."
Yeah,
And
things
the
like
boss is
that.
like, "What the
Literally,
fuck?"
like I have
Like,
so many examples of things like that.
yeah,
Where my first response, just to give myself time to think about what they said and what I have to respond with. Oh yeah, or
yeah,
no, you know.
yeah. No, that's funny, man. But that's awesome. That in spite of that, man, because honestly, that sounds very tough. I mean, we all got our own
Yeah,
struggles, but just going to a complete different country with not
yeah,
knowing the language and still having to walk through the fire,
yeah.
it's just I can't even imagine
It's
how much
funny
harder that
how
is.
I mean people have different struggles. You never know. Someone might be someone going to the store and talking to the cashier might be something challenging for that person, you know. But what else are you gonna do? You have to do it.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of times maybe we don't even think about that just because honestly the majority of us are just so caught up in our own heads and kind of think about our own problems,
Right.
and it's hard for I think the majority of people. I think it's unnatural for us to kind of think beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
But if sometimes I think this is something that's helped me a lot is instead of focusing so much on me and just I guess my little mind and whatever may be going on in there, I try to just kind of focus on whatever's going on out here, and for that
Yeah.
reason, it almost like makes my problems, quote unquote problems, because they're probably not really problems. Your mind has ways of creating its own problems, and it almost like makes them disappear.
Yeah.
If I'm going, let's say, I mean, the best way I can relate to what you're saying here is if I'm going to a listing presentation, I do real estate. If I'm meeting up a stranger to go talk to them about potentially selling a house, same thing. Especially when I'm meeting up people who are 50 years old, 60 years old, and they have super expensive homes, which in a way like for the longest time, I mean, it was something that was very, very foreign to me. And I'm like, are they going to speak like a different language? Not literally, but they might be speaking about different things that I can't even relate with. But if I go there and my emphasis is not just so like, how do I speak their language, or more than anything, like how can I genuinely seek out whatever it is that they may be needing as far as service, whatever their issue may be as far as with the sale of the house, just hear them out and literally just show up to serve them in any way that I can. All of a sudden, I think people can feel like the emphasis is on them.
Yeah.
I'm not so much in my head and looking to somehow, get them to accommodate me because of my emotions that may be clouded in my head. But instead, I'm focusing on them, and for that reason, I think it just comes off more genuine, and it just ultimately allows you to enjoy the present moment rather than completely miss it because we're trapped in our own heads. Which I think that's something that has helped me just try to think beyond myself. I'm not as important as I may think.
Yeah. And I think, as long as you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to do it even if you're, in your head about, what do I have to do? Obviously, you have to prepare. But if you like it, I did it because I loved it,
Yeah.
even though it came with certain challenges. But that's kind of what I asked for, So I wanted to be busy. I wanted to meet people. And thankfully, over the time, I've met so many people that at this point, it just became second nature to me,
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And that's awesome. I've definitely seen the growth since we first met. I can't even imagine since before that. So I've definitely seen the growth in all aspects in your business, as the man that you are today, character. So it's very admirable to see somebody continue pushing through. And so would you say struggle overall is a good thing?
Oh, yeah, man. And even since I was growing up, dude, like we didn't grow up having, most things that most people just have. Even just groceries and things like that. In Mexico, it can get rough, So, and I have talks with my siblings. Like sometimes we tend to maybe complain a little bit, like, "Oh, we didn't have that growing up," or our shoes were all ripped from the bottom, like you had holes in your shoes. But I'm like, you wouldn't be the man, the woman you are today if you didn't have those struggles growing up,
100%, man. And I'm glad that you went there because a lot of people would take circumstances like that and kind of use it as a justification for the lack of action or lack of results, or play the victim.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, we life isn't fair. I don't think everybody's gonna be starting off at the exact same start line. I mean, that'd be damn near impossible for the thought even of that to even actually exist. But I genuinely mean this like wholeheartedly, that I feel like just the more struggle you go through, especially coming from very humble beginnings, I think that's one of the biggest advantages that anybody can have.
Yeah.
Can you?
No, yeah. It's easy to be bitter. It's really easy to be bitter. Like, oh, I didn't have this. Some people had it. I'm going to complain. But sometimes you look at those people that had everything, and they don't have certain values that you maybe have within yourself, you know. And it's what bigger blessing can you have than that, you know?
Yeah, right. Or maybe even the ability to perceive whatever it is that they have as an actual blessing. Because if you're growing up with these things are normal to you.
Dude, Christmas time comes around, and sometimes kids don't get excited for new toys, new things. And I remember my mom, I would get a soccer ball every Christmas.
Yep.
And that was the biggest freaking gift that I could have gotten.
Just one soccer ball.
A soccer ball, maybe socks.
Soccer socks.
No, just regular socks.
Okay.
And underwear and stuff. It was probably things that I needed, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I got a guitar once, and I was like, oh my God, I got a freaking guitar, and then a bicycle. And but Christmas was like, oh my gosh, I got a freaking bicycle,
Yeah.
And these days kids have everything, it's gonna be interesting to see when these kids grow up, like are they gonna be grateful for the things they have, or what's gonna happen then,
Yeah, I mean, and just the fact that they've had everything kind of just served to them in a way. I'm not trying to, I guess, talk down on it in any kind of way. If you have it like that, and if you have the luxury to do that, by all means, more power to you, as long as it doesn't corrupt your mind. But what about when it's time to go out there and get whatever it is that you want? I mean, if everything that you've wanted kind of has been handed to you, how do you all of a sudden 20, 30 years later tap into that part of you like, hey, you know what? I want this. I mean, usually when I want something, it just kind of gets handed to me. But how do you actually find that part within yourself? Like, honestly, nobody is going to give this to me. So how do I go out there and get it?
And the thing is, can you blame them? Like, if you grow up, everything's given to you, then that's all you know.
That's what I'm saying. That's a disadvantage.
And that's, there's people close to me that they go on vacations every year. And sometimes, even during vacation, they're like, well, I didn't want to be here in the first place. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You go to different countries all the time, and you see it as like a normal thing that everyone has, but it's really not.
It's luxury.
It's luxury, and sometimes if that's all you know, then you're not gonna appreciate it as you should. I think
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't relate because I come from humble beginnings too, and I still think, like I said, that's one of my biggest advantages. I remember, for example, I can relate a lot with you would get a soccer ball. I remember for my 14th Christmas, my only gift that year was a gym membership to Fitness Connection.
Oh, nice.
And that's probably the best gift I've ever had in my life. I mean,
that's cool.
I had my weight set in my room, and I would go home and work out every single day after school. But
nice.
At 14 years old, I got a gym membership, and I absolutely loved it. It's funny because I grew up in Sun Valley, the little bit more rougher spot of Sun Valley, the manufactured house area, the biggest trailer park in the world, because there's Highland Ranch, nice houses, and all my buddies would live in Highland Ranch. I lived in the manufactured house area, which is okay. I'm not complaining. I always had a roof over my head. I always had food to eat. I had, love in the house, which I think is the most important thing. A lot of brothers. But it's funny because in a way, I feel like you kind of start to, at least for me, speaking for myself, sometimes we can start identifying ourselves with the circumstances that we grew up with. And, when I started going to Spanish Springs, as an example, I feel like I was just a kid that lived in this little rougher spot. I mean, you got all the white kids showing up to school with the big trucks, maybe their parents, or maybe the parents had gifted them, the jocks, the cheerleaders and stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. And this group is not for me because I'm from the Sun Valley area. Everybody's showing up in the car. I don't even have a car. I got to ride the bus. Even my buddies got a car. I got picked up to go to school by my buddies, and to me that was huge. I feel like I was beyond blessed to have a buddy that had a car that could pick me up.
Right.
And I guess I'm going to this because during summer break, I think it was my junior year and senior year, I believe. Yeah, both those years we went on summer break. Summer break was about 3 months, and one of my buddies started working. The guy that would normally pick me up to go to the gym, my gym buddy, started working, so he wouldn't be as available as he was before to hit the gym. So Sun Valley to the gym, there's some mountains right here, right behind my house here, that separate Sparks to Sun Valley. And if you cross those mountains, you literally hike those mountains. It's a 45-minute hike. So every single day, I would hike to the gym for summer break and then hike back. So it was a 45-minute hike.
Fuck?
I would get off here at Walmart, go to the gym, get my workout in, and then a 45-minute hike back. So that's like a 3-4 hour workout.
Crazy, bro. I didn't know that.
Yeah, every day, bro. I remember like one time it was hella snowing, raining, and I was walking through there, and when I got to the gym, bro, my shoes were like high heels of mud. It was just mud, like just stacked.
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
I just felt like so nasty at the gym because my shoes were super dirty, and I take pride in having cleaner shoes, you know.
Yeah.
But but I look back and same thing, man. I feel like that's one thing that definitely has shaped a lot of what I guess am about today. That's just one factor of many, I should say. And it taught me work ethic. It taught me to not make excuses, to not, play the victim card, because that would be a very justifiable excuse. Hey, I'm not gonna hit the gym because I don't have a ride. I mean, it's super far away. Like most people would be like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It'd be very rare when somebody would be like, okay, you're just making excuses. You can hike 45 minutes there and back.
Right.
But no, literally, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest advantages. And even to this day, every single morning when I'm waking up at 4 a.m., I'm driving to the gym, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, if I was hiking to the gym 45 minutes and back, like waking up at 4 a.m. and driving to the gym in a car, heated and everything, AC when it's hot, whatever, this is no problem. That was level 10. This is no problem. And people like even have a hard time getting to the gym. So I'm super thankful that I experienced that, because for that reason, I feel like this is a little bit, not to say my life is easy, but it's way easier than definitely hiking.
Yeah.
And I take full acknowledgement that I am beyond blessed just to have a damn car.
Yeah, dude.
To get to the gym,
And you have to check yourself sometimes too. I find myself, I have to remind myself all the time, like, hey, chill, man. Like, remember where you come from,
100%.
And, it's just like, be grateful for the way that you grew up, the things you had. But obviously you strive for better, but always have the thought of like, this is good. Like, I'm doing good for myself. Like, just try to live your life in a grateful way.
Yeah, I agree. I think gratitude is super, super important. And like you said, sometimes things slip my mind, and I think it's just a matter of we just tend to get jaded. We start getting used to whatever it is that we have, and this becomes normal now, and we forget, at one point, this is what you prayed for.
Yeah,
and now
absolutely.
You're complaining about because you want this. You're completely overlooking what you have today.
Yeah.
So I agree 100%.
One time, someone told me like, hey man, like, you can do more. You have potential. And I almost got offended by that. I'm like I'm doing good, like you don't know where I come from. But at the same time, I'm like, well, they're right. I could do more, even though, I come from very little. But if there's potential to do more, let's do more,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if not, what else are we doing? Days are just passing us by.
We're I find myself, because you check yourself both ways, Sometimes I find myself getting a little too comfortable, like, oh, this is fine, I'm chilling, I can, but then sometimes I just don't put myself through enough struggle, I think. Yeah,
I think we should have some kind of struggle every single day in one way or another.
Yeah.
If not, we just start getting too comfortable. We start getting too complacent.
Yeah.
And I feel like your mind just starts rotting.
Yeah. And that's one thing I wanted to tell. I wanted to do this in the beginning, but I wanted to tell you, like, I respect you, man. I definitely respect you, and I learn a lot from you, even though I don't get to tell you very often, because almost every time I see you, you almost want to set up a challenge or do something where like, hey man, let's do this, And that's something that I didn't have for a long time. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped running. I stopped taking care of myself. And then I remember I started running, and I saw you like 3-4 weeks into it. And you're like, well, let's lose 10 pounds by this day, And I'm like, okay, that's a nice challenge. And then it forced me to like, okay, now I have some goal to like aim towards, Mm-hmm. And I always like appreciated that about you, man. I definitely, this type of friendship is the type of friendship that I look for, not only with you, but with other people, and just try to push yourself and each other,
Yeah, 100%. Now, and same thing, man. That's why I think I like doing challenges with people like that, because we're like-minded. We want better for one another, and I think that's what a relationship should be. A relationship is something that should bring out the best in one another.
Yeah.
You as a good friend, if I'm slacking somewhere, please, hit me within the face, like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, and I would not get offended. I like to think that I have a pretty open mind. I can take constructive criticism, and I would not take it in a personal way. I know it would be coming from a good place, just because obviously I know you, and that's kind of what we've practiced here on this side, I like to say. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just super important to always just have some kind of objective. And a lot of people may think it's extreme to always constantly be on the pursuit of something and just constantly want more, obviously, while not taking for granted the things that we do have, because I like to say that, okay, you can be content with whatever it is that you have today, whatever God has blessed you with today, but while still working for more. Just not forget how blessed you are today. But I think it's super important to always have some kind of objective in mind and working in that direction, as long as it's for the better. Because if not, I mean, the world just itself, like it's literally designed to work against you. Your mind is designed to work against you. Everything that you see on social media, everything that you see trending, everything that you see as far as on it's being pushed as far as like on in the media is all designed to literally have you asleep. It's all designed to have you as the weakest version of you as possible, as much as it may be presented in a way that it's here for your best interest or for your convenience. But just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's always the best thing for you. Once again, going back to how we even got into this conversation to begin with, struggle is honestly, I think one of the best things that we can and put ourselves through, as long as it's struggle for the better.
Yeah.
But for that reason, since the world is completely designed to be working against you and to almost like they literally have like, I mean, let's take the algorithm, for example, on social media. I mean, naturally, our minds have certain things that we may be drawn to, for example, you and I as men, and that doesn't always mean that we should potentially be, exploring that at all times, but it's almost designed to kind of give you more of the bullshit that your mind may tend to be drawn to, whatever that may be for you, whatever that may be for me.
Yeah.
That may not be so good, but a lot of people think, oh, well, it's natural. No, it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, you have the ability to discipline your mind, your thoughts, but social media doesn't care. The social media's whole objective is to keep you on there. So it's going to feed you more of, if it's bullshit, it's going to feed you more of that bullshit. So what I'm trying to say with this is, since you almost have like the whole world designed to work against you in a way to where it does not want the best interest for you. I mean, I think we can agree on that, right?
I think so.
I mean, we see how much people have fallen on the wayside. You see how much people are depressed. You see how much people are overweight.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, you just see the average person, and that's all you got to look at. I don't got to say anything. Just look at the average person, and that'll be a perfect indicator of what the world's designed to make out of you.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think it's always to our best interest in mind to constantly propose something that's going to have us walk a straight and narrow path and be extreme with it. As much as people may say, oh, you're being too extreme with this. Well, you kind of have to be, because the world's extreme on the contrary. Exactly. So if not, you have to be extreme plus some. And that's why when people tell me like, hey man, you need to go take a break, chill out, go do this. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I genuinely love just going in the same direction at all times. I might take a breather every now and then, but I just love it. Like, if you can tap into how I feel mentally, I just absolutely love it. People are like, dude, you're overworking yourself. Your mind probably needs a break. Like, I feel like your mind needs a break. My mind feels amazing right now. The only thing I need a break from is this conversation we're having right now. So like, if you can step aside and let me enjoy my workout, you need to go on vacation. You need to go on vacation. But I mean, I just absolutely love it, man.
Now, let me ask you this. I feel like we've talked about this before, but do you feel like you're born with that kind of mindset, or do you think you can build that kind of mindset?
Man, it's funny that you asked that, because as far as like the mindset to go out there and get it.
Yeah, like just always going, like mentally strong. Do you think everyone is capable of being at that place or no?
I think just like you said earlier, when you first was pursuing photography, you said it yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's something that is genuinely something that interests you, that you actually absolutely love, then I think naturally you're going to start getting driven that way. Yeah. And you're going to just keep pushing regardless of whatever obstacles may come, whatever resistance
sometimes
may come.
Even I look at you, I'm like, damn, this guy, like every day, bro, like there's no stopping. And I'm like, I don't know if everyone is capable of like doing that.
I personally think everybody is. It's just, once again, the world is fucking strong. The world is super strong. Yeah. And the world's got a lot of people like just mentally weak. They can't even think for themselves. I mean, that's why you have the majority of people operating from a groupthink mentality. You got the sheep. Everybody just does what everybody else is doing. They want to be a part of what everybody else is doing. They want to be, accepted. They want to have like a sense of belonging, which I get. That's like,
I guess that's why I say that, because a lot of people are just like, I don't know if they're destined to just be, part of the group, I see it all the time too. That's why I'm like, how are these people, what do these people need to do in order to have a more purposeful life? What are some of the things that they would need to do to freaking, be their own person?
I think you just said it right there, is be their own person. I can't answer that question. I don't think you can answer that question for anybody else, but it's exactly that, to be your own person. And I think one of the biggest things that has genuinely helped me, and I think that can help anybody, I can say this confidently, is God. What God represents is he created you to be one of one. He created you to be your unique self. I'm my unique self in my own way. You know, you got things that may make you weird, and the thing that makes you weird just makes you a little different. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing, as much as today's society may like, well, it's kind of weird, it's strange, or that's not normal. But I mean, who gets to decide what is normal? But for that reason, I feel like this unique part of us is something that instead of us leaning into it, we kind of try to hide and just kind of conform to what the majority of people are doing.
Yeah.
And that is our biggest advantage. As cliche as it may sound, I genuinely believe that is our biggest advantage. That's what makes you one of one. That's what makes me one of one. But the majority of people, as I was just saying, do not want to be their version of one of one. They want to be one of the bunch. They want to be accepted by the world, by society. But if you look to God and God's telling you, hey, this is what I've made you, this is what you're here for, you feel almost like liberated to stand alone if you have to be apart from the masses and not do what everybody else is doing. And once you find that peace from within you, because ultimately the biggest thing or biggest person you can please, and I think the biggest peace that you can get is from trying to align yourself with God as best as you can, not with the world. I mean, that's why you see everybody, I mean, 3/4 of the world depressed, and yeah, people just, you can just see the sadness.
It's rough out here.
So that's my best way that I can answer is lean into God, and I think that just kind of is a byproduct of that.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Even though I feel like my relationship with, God and everything, it could definitely be better.
I think all of ours can.
Yeah, I think so.
Me too.
Sometimes 100%. I'm like, I need a little something, but we're still. I feel like I'm still working towards things that make me happy and make me a better person, and especially now that I started going to the gym consistently now, and you just feel so much sharper and so much better. You think more clearly. You're like, damn, imagine if everybody did this, the world would be much better.
So when did you start getting serious into the gym?
I used to be a soccer player for a long time.
In Mexico?
In Mexico, I was that was my whole life, playing soccer, and then I moved here. But then I had my knee kind of gave up on me a few times, and I had to literally give up and kind of just put that aside. And that's when I looked for the gym as like another thing that I could do, even though in the beginning you're new, you kind of hurt yourself, you stop again, and then you start again. So I wasn't super consistent in the beginning, but I would say maybe like 5 years ago probably, yeah.
5 years. So what biggest changes can you tell from before you started hitting the gym to now, where you're been at it pretty consistently?
Yeah, well, the thing is that it happens, I think, pretty slowly, like just over time. Because when I think back to the kind of person I was back then, first of all, kind of shy and very introverted, and I wasn't very confident. Like a good example, I think, if you can go up to, just to say, like, if you can go up to a girl, do you get nervous? Do you not get nervous?
Me?
No, like just in general, right? Like, and I would get super nervous just talking to like girls.
What about like a guy just as a friend?
A friend, it's fine. I can talk to people, but girls in specific, like something about it would make me so nervous, right? And then one thing, you wake up and you realize, I've been going up to like girls all the time and I don't get nervous anymore. You don't really notice when it happens, but it just happens. I don't know when exactly, but I think I definitely give it to the gym. And probably to like the fact that I talk to people all the time too.
Yeah.
So, it's multiple things working out all at once. But the gym is just, man. And I don't even know why I stopped, because I stop every now and then.
Yeah.
And I have to like get back to it. I guess when I get super busy, it takes like a back step, but it shouldn't take a back step. In my life, I should probably always put it as a priority too.
Yeah, no, that's so. As far as the confidence part, is it a physical thing? Is it a mental thing?
I think it's a physical thing, but mainly a mental thing. Because I don't know, you start to feel better about yourself, and you feel good. Your mind is probably feels good too.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. I think all the qualities and traits it takes to be consistent in the gym, and not just in the gym, because I'm sure what we're doing right now, Chava and I are doing a challenge right now. We're supposed to drop 10 pounds by April 15th.
Yes, sir.
And a loser gets to buy the winners, if whoever followed through, a dinner at the Atlantic Steakhouse. So that's gonna be a hefty bill. So I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I'm like, I'm not buying another man an Atlantis dinner.
Yeah,
you know, so I'm not losing.
That would be pretty humbling, I think.
Very humbling. And what's his name? Juan said he was going to get the Japanese Wagyu. I don't know how expensive that is because I've never actually dove into that part of the menu for that same reason.
I never go to the places like that, bro, because I don't, that's not my kind of place, bro. So I don't.
Same for me. Same for me.
If I'm going to go, I don't want to have to pay for someone else, bro.
Right. I don't go to those places either. That's why I recommended the Atlanta Steakhouse because if I can get a free Atlanta Steakhouse dinner, why not?
Pay for another man.
Yeah, exactly. But I think one of the biggest things as far as fitness, as I'm sure you experienced, it's not just the weight part, but it's that you got to carry this mindset day in and day out into the kitchen, into every decision you make. Yeah. If you go out on the weekend, I mean, you can go ahead and have a drink, whatever you want to do, but just know that this might cost you last 3-4 days worth of work. I can't remember the last time I enjoyed clocking in somewhere, going to work, and not getting paid for it. That's exactly the way I see it, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. If you genuinely like to work out and not get some kind of compensation, and by compensation, a result from it, because that's what you're in there for. You're not going in there to go backwards or stay the same, because if you're staying the same, life's passing you by. So, I mean, you're basically going backwards. But if you enjoy that, I mean, hit me up. I can get my lawn mowed every single day of the summer, and if you just like to work for free, hit me up. I could use that.
That's true. That's a good thing. That's a good way to think about it. I never really thought about it that way.
It is, man. It's crazy. I can't even imagine this. Time just goes by so fast, and I can't even imagine putting all this work in, all this energy in, sacrifice, and then a year later, 2 years later, nothing's changed.
Still at the same place.
Insane. Huh? But I've put so much damn energy into it.
Yeah.
I've been working for free the whole time.
Right.
So when you say how does this guy add it so much every single, like you said, like, I mean, what's the alternative? The alternative is to go backwards. Like, that's the biggest dreadful thought that I can imagine is going backwards. So I want to continue going forward. And if I know this is what's best for me, I got to stick out what's best for me, because I know the alternative, as tempting as this may be, as distracting as this may be, I got to try to do my best to keep my mind fixed on what I know is best for me.
No, that's awesome, man. I think a lot of people look up to you, bro. I don't even know if you realize that, but I think a lot of people look up to you just because you're driven, bro. You go for it.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, I guess I don't know. I just genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah. So ever since you were 14, you had that I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna go for it kind of mindset, or along the way have you is there anything like on YouTube or something that inspires you to, like, you watch something, you're like, okay, this is something that I can work towards?
Well, honestly, I feel like you and I resonate a lot, like a lot more maybe than what you may know, maybe because I haven't shared everything with you. But as far as getting nervous with people, like, I used to get nervous all the damn time at 14. And I think that was the biggest thing, is just knowing that, man, why the biggest thing was, like, I just hated being at the mercy of my emotions, as far as anxiety, embarrassment, the fear of failure, rejection, whatever the case is, to look dumb, to look foolish. It really happened when I moved schools. And I moved from Sun Valley Elementary to Silver Lake. It was a big, in a way, culture shock too, because Sun Valley was a little bit more like Latinos and, I guess more minorities, I guess you can say. I feel like I kind of fit in well. When I moved to Silver Springs, it was a lot of, American folks, a lot of white people and stuff like that. And maybe it's not that big of a deal, but my mind made it a big deal. I just
when you're little, when you're young, your mind wraps you in like that mindset of like, oh damn, like this is new, this is different.
These are aliens, as we would call it.
You don't belong here, you don't fit in, right? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, we might be aliens to them, but same vice versa. At least when I was that was a little bit younger than 14. But yeah, exactly. I was like, man, and honestly, I would have a really hard time making friends. And you might be shocked by this, or whoever maybe listen to this might be shocked by this, but I would be a loner. Like, I would hang out at the blacktop and everybody would be out in the field playing. And I would have a really hard time making friends. And I would try to hide behind the trees because I didn't want anybody seeing me hanging out alone, believe it or not. And I couldn't wait till a bell rang, because I just be like embarrassed the whole damn time. 30-minute break, 40-minute break. Everybody's looking forward to recess. I'm dreading recess. What the hell am I going to do?
Right.
And can you imagine, like, that's just I mean, to me, it was a very shitty feeling, especially at such a young age. And it got to the point where I got comfortable, moved back to Sparks Middle School after the '08 collapse. My parents lost whatever houses they had out there. Moved back to Sun Valley. Now I'm back at Sparks Middle School. So now as soon as I started blending in with the skaters, I had my audios, I had my DC, I had the long hair, Fox, Volcom, all these brands. I've learned them. I'm a part of these people. Now I go back to Sparks Middle School. You got people with Adidas, the Cortezes, Chucks, and I'm like Dickies. Yeah. And I do not blend it at all. Right. And now I'm back at square one, and the trauma started coming back up. Like, here we go again. And I hang out by myself. You see and eventually I found like, I guess a group that I guess I could kind of connect with in a way. You see a whole bunch of gangsters, then you see me, the skateboarder, even though I didn't skateboard, but I was, you see all these gangsters, then you see me with the cholos, and yeah, it was funny, but same thing. I was like, man, I'm having a hard time making friends. And I started realizing started really dissecting, what the hell is this? Like, do I have something wrong with me? Anxiety started really coming up. Like, why do I have such a hard time just talking to people, talking to girls? If somebody would ask me for a pencil in class, if a chick would ask me for a pencil in class and I didn't bring an extra pencil, I turned so red, like as if it was my responsibility, or if I just missed my opportunity to potentially make a friend here, or engage in this conversation. But since I didn't have a pencil, there goes my chance. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Imagine the mindset of scarcity that I'm operating from.
Yeah.
And this might be shocking, but I'm telling you, I think that's one of the biggest things that drove me. It's like, I need to get the hell out of this, because I can't even imagine when I actually graduate, as I'm older, if I go out into the workforce, the workplace, and try to get a job like this.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean,
it's crazy.
What position would I get?
It's funny that you mentioned that, like, oh, these people had this type of shoes, and then these other people had other type of shoes. I remember people would make fun of me because I would wear like the cheap brand of shoes, and then some of my friends back then in Mexico, they had like nice little brands and stuff. And shoes is the one thing that makes you feel self-conscious and things like that, And I feel like the other day I wear Pumas sometimes. I love the Puma.
Right now or then?
Back still to this day.
Uh-huh.
And then the other day, some kid, probably 15, 14 years old, he's like, hey, bro, I like your Pumas, kind of like making fun of me.
Is that a cat?
Yeah, like just Puma. I don't know if it's like not a good brand or something,
I think it's a good brand.
But it didn't pace me at all, because I knew he was making fun of me. And then the next time I saw him, he's like, oh, are you wearing your Pumas today? I was like, hell yeah, bro, check out my Pumas. Like, it's not something that faces me anymore, because people make fun of me for that all the time. Yeah. Like back then, it's just like, it's stupid. It's really stupid. So now I don't care about brand of pants I have. Like, I just wear pants that I like. And all those things, I'm thankful that people make fun of me because of that. Because imagine if I was a 25-year-old back then, worried about what shoes I wear, or worried about what pants I wear, or, oh, am I going to look like the rest of the people that, like things like that. I'm like, it's freaking dumb, bro.
Yeah, you'd be one of the sheep trying to get accepted.
So it just goes back to like, it's good to be made fun of sometimes too.
Yeah. I mean, the world is harsh.
Because if you try to avoid being made fun of, then you're just going to be like them.
You're walking on eggshells, you're blending in with the crowd, and we just talked.
So I guess we can say officially bullying, bring back bullying, bro.
I'm glad that you went there. I'm really glad that you went there. 100%. I mean, I'm not for just bullying anybody, but if somebody's doing something wrong, like, I mean, I'm not going to go up. First of all, let's just touch on the Puma thing. I'm glad that you said that, because I think that's probably one of the best indicators on where somebody may be operating from. I like nice things. I'm sure you like nice things.
Yeah, it's nice to have nice things.
Mm-hmm. But if somebody is literally just operating on this superficial level, on this level of like, hey, judging somebody by what they're wearing, or just superficial, or more on the physicality of things, I think that says a lot about that person's mindset.
And sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's just about the logo. Like,
yeah,
it's the quality might not even be, all that much better. But it's just the logo. If it has the logo, or sunglasses. If it's a Prada logo, then I want those. It's just cheap plastic.
The social programming that we have in today's day is crazy, man. To think that today, I mean, I'm sure we see it on social media all the time. That's people's biggest flex. Like, they love to post a logo. And like I said, I like nice things. I'm not trying to knock it, but if you spent $3,000 on let's say a pair of glasses, or let's say a bag, because bags definitely go for $3,000. Mm-hmm. Not to knock anybody that may have a $3,000 bag. I mean, if you got it like that, more power to you. I like to think that I still wouldn't, even if I had it like that, But sometimes I see it, and because I know a lot of these people, like, I mean, I don't think you have like that. But I guess who am I to say? But I find it kind of foolish. I'm like, bro, I think the bag that I saw here for $30 is probably just as good quality. It just doesn't have the logo. So if anything, I think you can even make fun of them if they don't gotta like that. I mean, that's like I said, that's not my place to tell you if you do gotta like that or not. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately I think everybody's leading their life with what they value most. Some people value what they wear the most. Some people value the money that they have the most. Some people value the material that they have. I've always liked to play on the playing field of values and morals. Yeah. When I talk to you, I'm genuinely looking for who you are as a person, quality, what values you bring, what morals you bring, in spite of, I mean, regardless of any kind of financial status, any kind of clothing they may wear. Yeah. Like, that's cool and all, but the moment you let those things override what means most, which is the quality of our character, I think that's just when you tend to start seeing people lose themselves.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. And sometimes people grow up that way. Sometimes people, it's not even that they lose themselves, it's that they grew up lost.
Yeah, they grew up lost, and that's poor guidance, and yeah, that's.
I watched a lot of self-help, motivational stuff, especially a few years back when I was still trying to okay, what do I want to do with my life, and it helps, man. It helps a lot. Mm-hmm. There's some people that I can name them, but I watched so many of their videos, and they talk about things that I relate to. I want to do that, and it's always like you have to try to be better,
Try to be better. I agree. Well, Chava, why do you do this? I mean, you should. I mean, according to what today's rule says, why do you do this? I mean, you should just love yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
You should just go ahead, and if you're feeling something that you feel like eating something, why restrict yourself? Why have bad relationships with food? Live your life, man. Right. You're only young once, and come on, man. Like,
I have arguments with people all the time, man. People say I'm stubborn.
What do you mean?
People say I like to argue, bro. I don't know why, but
that question specifically.
Yeah, about things, things like that. But I remember I had an argument with someone about why do you care what other people do? I'm like, if I love you, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think. What the truth is, and I think people these days just don't want to hear the truth.
Okay, female, male. We don't have to say names.
No, both.
Both.
Yeah. Why do you care that these people? I'm like, this is stupid.
I think that's one of the. That's one of the best friendships that we can have. Somebody's actually going to call you out on your stuff, right?
Why do you feel like? So when you talk to someone, do you feel like? Why do people call it an argument right away?
Because they get triggered.
Exactly, because wouldn't it be a conversation? You could just talk.
That's what one would hope for, right?
People call me. I like to argue. They say I like to argue, but I like to think.
Okay.
Right, and how are you gonna think if you don't talk?
Yeah, right.
So it's people just don't want to think. We were talking about this too, but people don't want to think, bro.
And yeah, if somebody has put this thought in their head that they think this is the way to go, they don't want anything to contradict that thought that's already been put in their head. Even though that thought may have not came from a person that had the best interest in mind, don't make me question this thought because it's going to make me actually have to process what you're saying and get rid of what I've been believing in. Yeah. And that's too much work for me. My brain might get fried. I might just explode.
The thing is, everything we see around us in the media and on Instagram, social media, it just plants the seed of this is what you have to think. But then you don't challenge that ever.
Yep, this is what it is. I'm running with it.
And I was thinking, I think I do a pretty good job of this. Every time I'm talking to someone, I try to explain the other side of the argument just to see if my side is strong enough, right? Do I understand what they're talking about so I can tell them what I think about, right? Mm-hmm. So just, thinking about not only your side, but how would they argue against this? And it's just a way of making your argument more solid. If you can defend it, then how is it a strong opinion,
Right. Is it something that you genuinely believe in and is genuinely a thought of your own? So I think it's like you said, it's important to put our ideas and thoughts under stress.
Yeah.
Put some pushback on it and maybe get the other take without getting offended.
Yeah, exactly.
If I can be open-minded on something completely different that I believe in and you believe the opposite, I can be completely open-minded. And if I truly believe in what I believe in, hey, by all means, we'll just agree to disagree. And if your way of seeing things, hey, you know what? I didn't see it that way, but now that you got me to look at it from this perspective, I could definitely see that maybe I was a little wrong here, and I'm all for the growth.
Right. And that's why, having friendships that you can have those conversations, that's another part of self-growth and being able to talk about things that are maybe a little touchy subjects or whatever. But being able to do so without getting hurt or like offended, and just having quality friendships that you can have good conversations with.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just funny as far as bringing back the bullying and just getting our own, or if there are our own thoughts and ideas, questioned or some pushback on it. I think that's one of the most important things that we can have around us. And I think that's why bullying is good, because we have to have thick skin. We have to be able to be open-minded to constructive criticism. And I think a lot of people lack that in today's day because, especially I'd hate to shame the world. I don't want to sound like an old head, but the world's not here to question you. Hey, if you're overweight, it's okay. We're going to go ahead and accommodate these mannequins to be almost an exact version of you, to where you don't have to change. You're perfect just the way you are. We're not going to push back on your bad eating habits because you're perfect just the way you are. Yet you got fucking type 2 diabetes. You can't even breathe properly. But yet the world's here to
you can't. It's crazy that you can't say that these days.
I just said it. I mean, right. But that's the way the world's going, man. That's what it's got everybody going down. And it's so scary that people can't even recognize it. People are so half asleep. They're just like, you ever seen that SpongeBob episode when Plankton drops those buckets on everybody and they're like little robots?
I think so, probably.
I forgot what episode it was. It might have been the movie, but anyway, nobody's thinking. Everybody's like an autopilot. Everybody's like a damn sack of skin.
Yeah.
Literally just a sack of skin walking around.
If you're not careful, you'll fall into it too.
Me too.
You and I too. Yeah, it sucks you in.
And there's been times where the algorithm gets me and I'm like, holy shit, I just scrolled for 40 minutes and who knows where my mind really was. Yeah. It wasn't here.
Oh yeah.
It was shut off.
And all those things also, especially in this day and age, a lot of people feel like oppressed and they feel like they get taken advantage of. I never felt that. Some people might say I'm privileged, but what privilege is it to move here when you know English and you come from humble beginnings, like you said? What privilege is that,
Right.
And so I do think that whole I'm oppressed, I'm a victim, I feel like that comes from what you see and what people are feeding you all the time, and you don't fight against it, then you become the victim.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
I think that's the biggest superpower that we have, is to be able to perceive our circumstances and narrate them to the best of our ability. That's gonna go ahead and empower us rather than disempower us.
Yeah. Anything
that may have happened. The story of me walking or hiking to the gym, I can be like, oh, poor me. This is why I'm out of shape. I don't have a ride. I come from humble beginnings. I don't have a car. Everybody else has a car.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm fat as hell. And that could have been my reality. But I'm like, you know what? This is going to go ahead and teach me work ethic. This is what this is going to do for me. I'm going to have a competitive edge over most people, because the average person is not doing this. Mm-hmm. So that was the way I framed that. And I genuinely bought into it. And I still believe in that until this day. And for that reason, I think I genuinely have a competitive edge because of that. And if you didn't experience that, somebody might feel sympathy by me saying that, but please do not feel sympathy. If anything, I feel sympathy for whoever hasn't experienced the struggle.
Right.
Because the struggle is what I'm talking about here. That is empowering, as long as you perceive it for the better. So quit playing the victim, and just take whatever circumstance you may have and allow them to benefit you and allow you to expand yourself and grow, really, more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I think that's just one thing that we don't actually exercise, because our inability to think, once again.
Yeah.
Our inability to think.
Dude, it's insane because sometimes I talk to people all the time, like I said, and I like to have challenging conversations and people don't want to have them.
Maybe people just don't want to change. That's reality. People don't want to hear it because they don't want to change.
And it's it's like, what can you do about it? But I feel like that's another one of the biggest blessings, that you have to think objectively and try to challenge your own thoughts sometimes too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another thing that I would, because how you asked me about the 3 things, because I wasn't always like that. But then I don't know when it happened, but lately I've been more like focused on thinking through the things that I think about, not just like, oh, this is what I think. Why do I think this, and what's the argument against it, and are my opinions strong and have a solid foundation. And that's something that I had to develop over time too.
Yeah, and I think you can. I mean, at least from what you're saying, I think I can definitely tie in. I don't know if you may agree with this. You can tie that in with the benefits that come from the gym, because that's what the gym is exactly like. When you wake up or whatever time you may go to the gym, your mind has a natural resistance of, I just want to lay here. I don't want to go. I'm lazy. But you gotta still have your mental will push you in that direction that the resistance may be going against.
Yeah.
You get to the kitchen, naturally you want to eat the cookies, you want to eat this, but it takes constant conscious deliberacy for you to actually choose what is most aligned with whatever your objective is. And this is 24/7. I can't drink alcohol because I know it's going to do this. Every single thought you make, as long as you're filtering it through this objective of whatever result you may be trying to get, it's going through that to where it constantly makes you analyze the decision you're about to make before taking action on that.
And sometimes I think I noticed this with people. Sometimes it happens not only within them, but it happens with external like factors, right? Like I feel like some people even grow up with parents that tell them like, no, you can't do that. You've never done it before. So how are you gonna lose weight? You never lost weight before, you know. And if everyone in your family, they never did the dieting, the losing weight, the taking care of themselves, if nobody does in your family, then you're most likely gonna follow like them, right? Like do the things that they do. Because I remember even in my life, and I love my mother, rest in peace, but sometimes she would plant that seed of like, you're in a diet, like you're trying to lose weight. You're like, you can't do that. Like you love sweets. Like how are you gonna do that? You know
what? You're right. Fuck this diet.
And it's like, you get little seeds here and there of like, oh yeah, I mean, I love sweets, so I'm not able to do this. But no, you're capable of doing so much more than you think. I remember the first time that I really, because when I got into the gym, I bulked up, I gained like 20 pounds, and I lost them. And my mom was like, I didn't think you would be able to do that. But being able to push through and prove myself that I can do things, Yep. And I think that's part of the confidence that comes with it. And like, you prove yourself that you can do it. You can't just look in the mirror. Oh, I'm confident. That's a farce. Like you have to do the things that will make you confident because you can do it.
Yeah, you're being delusional if you're just kind of trying to reprogram just by reaffirming these things, right?
The first time that I lost weight, that's the first time I was like, no, like I'm not so easily influenced by other people anymore. Like I can do things for myself. Like if I want to run and hit 30 miles a month, I can do 30 miles a month because that's what I proved myself before that I can do it.
In spite of the limiting beliefs maybe that your mind may have or the people around you may have.
The people around you, and like I said, most people I think you can say are average, because average, that's what average means. But you don't want to be average, man. You want to stand out. You want to be different.
100%.
You only get one life.
100%. And it sounds like ultimately the power is coming from your mind rather than the world. Because the moment you buy into these limiting beliefs, I mean, you're giving the power to the world.
Dude, that's crazy. But some of the best conversations we had, I remember when you used to cut my hair, we would have like solid conversations, friends. That's kind of like around the time that my mind started to expand and to think different too.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm genuinely glad that it's somebody like you that I can have these kind of conversations
with.
Yeah,
no, absolutely, man.
If it weren't for this, honestly, I think the best thing that I can probably talk about with people who are not open to conversations like this, because I'm all for growth and I try to surround myself with people who are all for growth, is most likely the weather.
Right. Small talk.
What movies have you watched lately? That's it.
Yeah.
And I'll see you around.
No, it's cool. It's cool and I feel like I don't have a lot of friends. Contrary to like what most people think, because I feel like I'm kind of social now, but I have very few friends that I have solid, deep conversations with. And I feel like every time you call me, like even if it's just for one quick thing, next thing you know, 30 minutes in and we're talking, we're talking shit.
Yeah, we just click like that, man. I'm glad we do. Like I said, I mean, like you said, I don't have much friends either, but I do consider you one of those few friends that I can actually, engage with like that. And I know you're all for the growth, and that's why I think we connect.
Yeah, no, likewise, man. I feel like from day one, we were able to see that, I was like, this guy, I remember like, I shoot you a message. I'll do it for free. I remember I did it for free.
Yeah,
the first
I remember
time.
that.
I was like, I just want to connect with like-minded people,
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's awesome.
It's crazy to think that we're here now.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah, as far as mentally, right? Mentally, and there's still a ton of room for growth. So with that being said, Chava, I mean, what kind of growth do you have in the works? What kind of things are you kind of working towards right now? Is there something that you're currently on the pursuit of, or what's next for you in the next, I don't know, let's say 12, 24 months? Is there something that you're open to maybe sharing as far as that you may be working towards, or
Yeah, well,
what's your focus right now?
I turned 30 last year, and I feel like that was a big shift. I feel like every maybe 25 and then 30, you kind of stop and look at your life and be like, okay, what do I need to do now, you know? And if people follow me, they know that I remodeled my entire house. So, and that's another thing that I wasn't really expecting to do, but I learned how to do stuff. And I think it feels really good to learn how to do stuff with your own hands, you know, like you can say, I built that, or I did this, you know, and I'm still kind of riding that train of like, let me learn. I'm just open to learning different things that at some point in my life, I never thought I would do.
Yeah.
I never thought I would buy a table saw, cutting wood, putting something together,
That's crazy, yeah.
and then looking at it every day, you know?
Yep.
So that's something I'm still kind of going through. But obviously, with my business, sometimes things get a little hectic, and I'm easily kind of burnt out sometimes. So trying to balance that, like, but I wanna do more. I wanna do more this year, with my business, because last year was all about remodeling and all this and that. But this year we're gonna be very business focused, and just trying to connect with more people, maybe do things that I maybe haven't done yet. Collabing with other people. But yeah, I don't know, nothing too crazy. Just it's still like a self growth. You know, after turning 30, you try to just become a better person.
Yeah.
All around. So I'm still riding that train for sure.
No, that's respectable, man. Respectable. I mean, the fact that you're always working towards something, whether if it's the business or learning a new skill. I mean, the fact is, you're constantly putting yourself in a position to where you're growing one way or another.
Yeah.
Which is good, and it's admirable.
And I think we share that quality, because even I talk to people all the time. They're like, because I used to have a podcast back then, and some people would be like, oh, I want to start a podcast too. And they would even like create like an Instagram page for it. And then no episodes, or one episode, and then nothing else after.
Yeah.
And I feel like in my life, if I say I'm going to do something, I just do it.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, learn how to do drywall, I just do it.
Yeah.
And I found it funny that you told me one day, like, oh, I have my podcast studio already. I'm like, oh, damn, that's crazy. Yeah. And then you're doing it. You seem like to be pretty consistent with this. So that's awesome.
I mean, I'm doing this honestly for fun, and I genuinely enjoy catching up with good friends like this, because I get lost in my routine. And if it weren't for this, I mean, we'd probably push out us meeting up again for another couple weeks, months. I mean, you never hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a two-way street, and I know you're busy. You know, I'm busy, and that's one good thing that I definitely appreciate about our friendship too, is nothing's ever personal. You know, we've got busy lives, and the thing is that once we connect, it's like if we've never had a 3, 4, 5 month.
Oh yeah. And I feel like sometimes it is that long, right? Like 3, 4 months, and then let's go eat or something.
It's like nothing. We pick right back up where we left off. Like nothing.
It's almost like, oh, it's your birthday, happy birthday, bro. And then 5 months later, oh, we never went out to dinner for your birthday.
That's right. Well, you said you got me on the Atlantic Steakhouse here April 15th. So
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say that?
I don't think so, bro. I'm still going strong, kind of.
Okay, no, that's awesome, man. But I mean, we're
past an hour. I think, yeah.
I think, I mean, I would love to talk for a lot more. I mean, I could definitely go in, and I'm sure you can too. We can go for like another hour, maybe 2 hours.
Probably.
3 hours maybe, but.
Damn, really is an hour.
Maybe if somebody requests a part 2, if we get one request for a part 2, we'll do a part 2. Even with some suggestions, comments, drop some suggestions and comments on maybe what part 2 should be about, if there even should be a part 2, or even say, hey, you know what? That's been enough of an hour. I think we've had enough. No more part 2s. You guys should just be canceled.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I mean, I hope that was insightful, I guess.
I hope. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was just thinking before we even recorded this, I mean, I don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. All we have is the answers that I have the answers that may have worked for me and have served me up until this point. And I think you would say the same, right?
Yeah, just my life experience and the things I've been through
that have worked for you. I mean, you're doing pretty well. And like somebody would say, like, oh shit, like I want to get to that level. And
and people reach out to me like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Just do it.
That's the best advice you can give.
That's the best advice I can give someone, man. Yeah. Like, just do it. Like,
Nike.
I was able to do it. I didn't know no English, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, man. I think we just overthink a lot of things, and I'm guilty as myself. I truly overthink things like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how simple things are, but we just overcomplicate them.
We overcomplicate them. I agree, man. Last question I want to ask is before we, I guess, shut this thing down and see if people want a part two. We'll leave it up to the people. But is there any kind of phrase, any kind of quote that you may resort to that motivates you, that keeps you going? Maybe when things are tough, or just maybe one of your favorite phrases or sayings, or something you even say to yourself. It doesn't even have to be an actual thing. Maybe it's just something that you tell yourself.
I could probably think of a better one, but I remember do it scared, because I did a lot of things very scared,
Yeah.
Shaking in the car before going to meet someone, and the shakes just come. It was crazy. The shakes, I'll be like literally shaking like this, and then you go do it. You're like, wow, it's fine. Like you kind of just do it scared. I would flake on people all the time, bro.
Wow.
This is a long time ago though, when I first started. Planning a shoot with someone, and then the day before, like, oh, something came up, bullshit. Like I was scared. I was like, oh,
shaking in the car at the meat place.
So
something came up. What came up? The shakes.
It's not. I don't regret it, because I mean it's just part of the process, But why did I flake on people? Like, why? If I did this way sooner, I would be much more ahead, today. So don't wait. Like, just. I know it's kind of just simple, but just do it, bro.
Let's not let our minds get the best of us.
And I let my mind get the best of me for a long time.
Damn mind, man.
It's just
mind.
All my early 20s, I feel like I lived all I did was work and then my little hobby on the side.
Yeah.
But and I see people that start doing their own business in their early 20s, and then they're like, oh man, like I'm struggling or whatever. Man, you're 22. Yeah. Like you're in the right path, It takes time, but if you're doing things, then you're on the right track.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great piece of advice for that. Do it scared. And a lot of times, I mean, you do it, and you come to realize that your mind was making up all these thoughts that didn't even exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, you're proving to yourself, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's an awesome take, and I will definitely take
something.
that with me.
I hope so, bro.
Yeah, because I'm the same as you, man. We all feel the same emotions. But
what about you? You have one?
Oh shit! Now you're gonna flip it on me. Honestly, I mean, mine's similar to that, but it's fuck it.
Fuck it. There we go.
I think just with everything, I mean, it's almost the exact same thing. Fuck it. Like when I'm a little nervous to do, let's say, a heavy squat at the gym, like just the thought of fuck it is it's almost like, hey, I'm just gonna do it regardless.
Oh, dude, I did 75
I saw
today.
that on Instagram,
bro. I never done 70, and I could do it.
Yeah, I saw that, no problem.
And the thing is, I never I always do 50, 55, maybe 60 at some point. I was like, why am I not going for more? Like it's been a long time since I've just been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like not pushing yourself just because you're scared.
Yep.
Like what if I drop it on myself or whatever?
Damn mind, man.
And you grab it, you do it. I know the next time I go, I'm going to be able to do 75 just fine.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, man.
You just did it.
So yeah, exactly.
Did it scared. If you were scared while doing it, scared of dropping it on you.
Didn't fall on my face.
So he's literally living out the advice he's giving.
It never stops. You always have to remind yourself of that,
Yeah, we're on a forever evolving journey.
Exactly.
Ultimately. So let's keep pushing for the better version of us. Maybe next time if people request a part 2, even if it's in a week, 2 weeks, maybe even if it's in a month, we'll be completely different people than who we are today.
Exactly.
That's the objective, because I'm sure we're going to work on ourselves from here to there.
Yeah. No, this is, the year's kind of starting still, but this is going to be a good year, bro.
I agree. Well, with that being said, I'm looking forward to the free Atlantic Steakhouse dinner April 15th. I'll keep you guys posted on what I
guess
order on Chava.
We have to have a part 2 now just to see, who had to pay.
Yeah, honestly, we might just do that. I mean, we won't even wait for people to request it, because once again, going back to what we said here today, just do things because you want to do things.
Dinner on this guy right here.
And dinner on me. But nah, I'm not going to lose. I mean, who knows? We'll see.
We'll see. Thank you for having me, man. This was a blast.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. I think a lot of jewels that were definitely dropped here, and I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate a lot of your insights. So,
thanks, man. I'm still learning. I'm still, growing, and
as we all are.
This helps for sure. Just talking about the things that other people think and other people go through. So
Iron sharpening iron.
exactly. There you go. That's a much better way to say what I was going to say.
Well, Chava, appreciate you, man. So we'll go
Thank
ahead
you,
and go
bro.
into that. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace out.